What were your expectations for Mike Ladd when he first transferred here?
Expectations were that he'd come in here and be a good, solid player for us. A guy that would add toughness, intensity to our team. Somebody that could shoot the three and who could guard people.
Just in terms of what he's brought since he's come back from injury, I mean, it is about as good as you could have expected.
I feel like what he's brought is exactly what we were looking for. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's done it in a situation where I know that thumb still bothers him, but I think he's fighting through some adversity, but he's not the only one. There's a few other guys on our team that are banged up, just like a lot of teams around the country. This time of year, your body starts wearing down a little bit. But Mike's done a good job here since he's been back.
It seemed like last weekend he really looked to score more, or looked to go to the basket, or didn't have a problem catching and shooting as soon as he got the ball. Does he look like he's...
Yeah, he looked more comfortable. He looked more comfortable out there on both ends of the court. Thought his offense was good.
What all did he do, Ken, to stay in shape? Because, you know, like, what was the first game back, and he played like 26 minutes?
Yeah, he was tired.
I hope so.
Yeah. He was doing some things to try to stay in shape, but, you know, it's taken him a couple weeks, but I think he's back to where he was now.
He obviously, you guys voted him a team captain his first year that he's actually playing, so obviously a sign of respect. Was he able to, you know, I would think you're pretty frustrating. 2 times you have to go out and miss 5 games, and you know, you were talking at one point, geez, I don't even know if he'll play again. Did he ever get frustrated, or how did he handle that?
I thought he handled it really well. In fact, he handled it as well as any guy I've ever coached.
Right.
Because he continued to be engaged in every practice, every meeting, every film discussion. He'd be out there. I mean, it wasn't like it was his knee or his ankle or something where he was on crutches, or he had to sit there and ice all practice. But he was very mobile. He was out there at mid-court quite often, in huddles, hearing what's going on. And so I've got to believe that helped his comeback.
Now you're still at Portland State when he's senior, right?
Senior high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you guys looking at him at all?
Yeah, we tried to recruit him to Portland State.
How did he? I don't think I've ever asked Reggie or Mike. How did he end up here? Did he call Reggie and said, "Hey, I'm looking"? Or
All I know is he made his mind up to leave Fresno State, and Reggie asked if we had interest in him. And I said, "Well, let you know in a few days after we look at some video." But he's a great kid. You know, it's going back to what you mentioned, Howie. That has rarely happened in my coaching experience, where you've got a guy that has redshirted one year and he becomes a team captain the next before he's ever played a game in your program. And I think it says a lot about his character and his work ethic and how the guys respected what he was doing in preparation for a season.
challenge on Thursday. What adjustments, what things would you like to see your team do better the second time you face Arizona?
Well, what'd they score the first time? Whatever it was way too many. 85 points. We're not going to win many games, if any more games, if we can't hold people to a lower score than that. So we've got to concentrate on our defense. Again, our rebounding. We're going to be faced against at least two of the best rebounders in the league, in Hill and Perry. and a couple of the best 3-point shooters in the conference. So they can beat you a lot of ways. There's a reason why I think they've won 4 straight at this point, and they're playing good basketball right now.
I feel like you guys are maybe a little more complete now than that first time you played them, considering that was the game Faisal went down. Now, last weekend you said that maybe you guys are starting to find a little more of your own identity without him.
Yeah, I think we are playing better as a team now than we were after Faisal went down in that game. You know, when you lose one of your top players, one of your best scorers, you have to make some adjustments. And I think we're playing better basketball now than we were at that time. But what scares me is so are they. They're playing very well.
And they've got what everyone's going to bill as the big showdown between them and Washington on Saturday. Is there any edge for you guys with them coming in here to play first and maybe looking ahead to that?
You know, sometimes that does happen. I think with Arizona, their focus has been very good, and he's got those guys playing extremely well right now. And I think that they've been able to turn some of those young kids into, I'm not going to say veterans, but seasoned freshmen, I guess. I mean, they're playing good basketball. And they know what's at stake. I mean, they can't come in here and overlook us. But yet, yeah, the big game of the week for them and Washington will be Saturday, just because of their records.
What do you want to accomplish these last few weeks before?
Just keep getting better. Just try to build off of last weekend and continue to get better as a team. At the same time, try to stay as healthy as possible.
At least 6 games left, obviously. Ken, have you sat down and thought about, you know, what, if you guys do not win, say, the tournament, what you would have to do to get into another postseason tournament?
No, haven't thought about that yet. That'll happen. I'll think about that probably after our last game at the Pac-12 tournament, because there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, it's out of my control, so I've got too many other things to think about right now. Hopefully we're in a tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, the ultimate would be the NCAA tournament or maybe the NIT tournament, but it'd be great to be able to keep playing. I think the programs that do that really can build off that. I think Oregon State did it a couple of years ago. Oregon, wasn't that last year when they won that CBI tournament? Ended up being best of 3 with Creighton. Mm-hmm. I mean, that gave them 5, 6, 7 extra games and success. That rolls right into your spring and summer and into the next season. So it's hard to turn down an opportunity to go into postseason play.
Did you guys turn down the CBI 2 years ago, Ken?
We did. Our guys were our team was worn out. We were not playing very good basketball the last month, and our students were not here. It was spring break, and we figured it just didn't look like a good situation at that time.
Any more questions for Coach? Okay.
And just a second, sorry, Jessica, I didn't hear you say that you were taking from the phone now as well. Doug Drowley from Wazoo Watch, Coach. Just real quickly, do you think there's a need to find a consistent second scorer in addition to Modem, or can you continue to get guys on a nightly basis, this last weekend, or Reggie or somebody else, or do you need to have a consistent guy emerge as a second option going forward?
I think there's pros and cons. That's a great question. You know, last 2 years we obviously had Klay Thompson and it's great to have a guy of that caliber put up 20 or whatever, 20 some a night. But if he doesn't, it's hard for other guys to step into that role. And there's a lot to be said for teams that have 4, 5, 6 guys scoring, maybe 9 to 12 or 13 points a game. It's harder to scout, or I shouldn't say scout, but it's harder to predict which of those guys are going to go for 18 or 20 each night. There's just a lot of good things about having parity within your scoring.
Do you see anybody in practice?
I really don't. Yeah, I'm sorry to do a better job answering your question. I really don't. I continue to see Lacey, Moore, Mike Ladd, Abe Lodwick, Marcus Capers, not in particularly in that order, but out of those, I think I mentioned 5 guys. Any one of them is capable of going for 12 or 15 some nights, and hopefully if they all scored 8 or 9, I'd be fine with that. I think that makes us more difficult to defend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Coach, this is Bruce Paxton out in Tucson. Do you find with Reggie in particular, with Faisal being out, has he stepped up or maybe been more aggressive offensively or anything with him?
Yeah, he's taken more shots per game since Faisal's been out, and that's something we've asked him to look for. He also continues to get a lot of assists. In fact, the other night I think he had 10 or 11 at Oregon State. So we're asking him to look a little bit more to score, but he's also still dishing it out to teammates.
Would you say he's approaching? I mean, he had a really strong freshman year. Is he back to that level or past it now, or where would you rate him?
I think he's a better player now than he was as a freshman. He might have had better numbers at that time, but I think he's more court savvy, knows how to run the team. Assist turnover ratio's better. I think all in all, he's a better basketball player. He's definitely a better defender now than he was his freshman year. There's just no stats that show that, but he's definitely better on the defensive end than he was his freshman season.
One other thing I was wondering, just you guys, and I know this is the case a lot, obviously, but seem to be much better at home and road. Is that different? Any stronger tendency this year than you've seen, or is it the same? Play at home versus the road.
For us or for the conference?
For you guys, particularly, yeah.
I think for us it's been about the same. We've won 3 road games, one at Portland, one at Idaho, and then the other day at Oregon State. That's not real impressive if you've played 10 like we have. But I don't think that's a lot different than the last few years when we compare it. And we are 9-2 on our home court. That's probably pretty close to what we've been over the last couple of years also. We might have been a little better in that last year, I'm not sure, but we lost a couple of games here at home, I know that.
I didn't know with you guys particularly, too, if it's just more the typical, being more comfortable at home, et cetera, or do you think some of it is just getting teams coming in, making that trip there that seems to be a little bit longer?
I don't know, because I've never been on the other side of it. Well, I was when I was at Washington, and we just took the bus over here, and it wasn't a big deal. But it's it's the same for us going somewhere else. It's the same exact situation. We don't have chartered flights, so there's times we leave on a Tuesday night, spend the night in Spokane, sleep there, catch a flight the next morning just to get to our destination. And in fact, that's what it was like when we went to Tucson. So it's a long haul. We left our campus that evening about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and we arrived in Tucson the next day about, I want to say, maybe 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Maybe later than that. Maybe it was more like 4, and then I think we practiced at like 6. So it's a long haul to get here, and it's a long haul for us to get somewhere else.
Well, that's what I mean. If that was part of the differential. Is there any possibility you might charter more with the new television contract and a little more financial cushion there? Or is there any talk of that with basketball?
Well, there's a chance of that, I think. I've not had those discussions for a few months, so I don't know where that sits right now, but hopefully we will continue to have those discussions. It'd be nice to charter a trip or two.
Alright, that's all the time we have. Thank you guys.